Orange and Gray Heart, which is Gray's sister in the canon Neptunian continuity, come together. They declare that they will use their secret weapon to defeat them. The CPU of our dimension are confused when the Universe 6 Saiyans pull out a secret weapon, the Batara earrings. However, our CPU don't know what those are. Remember, this story, fusion, has never been done before. As the two CPUs fuse together, the other CPUs are completely shocked as they were not expecting that to happen with earrings. This time, Beers would yell out that they were cheating, but the other thing thought it was cool, so they didn't give a shit. And here, I'm gonna break the fourth wall a little bit. Look, listen, I originally wrote this because I felt like Champa would still try the strategy. However, upon further thinking on this strategy still means Next Purple is kicking her ass. I really want to say it would be different and, dramatic and stuff, but in my what ifs, I do the best of A plus B times 100. Since HDD is equal to Super Saiyan, this would make it a 10,000 times boost. In comparison, Super Saiyan God is a 40,000 times boost in my what ifs, and Next is comparable to Completed Blue, so it's likely a 2 million multiplier at least. So, yeah, she's getting her ass kicked, despite powering up and doing a much better job. It's just not enough. As the battlefield begins to quiet down, a member of Universe 10 is knocked out of the ring by Toppo. Universe 7 groups back together and faces the majority of Universe 11. Toppo, Dispo, Jiren, and a few fodder members that you can't be bothered to remember. Neither can I. There's 15 minutes left. Goku and Vegeta turn into Super Saiyan Blue, going to fight Jiren. But Toppo cuts off Vegeta and tells him that he'd have to deal with him. Fine by Goku, you prefer 1v1s anyway. Gohan and Trunks are caught off guard by Dispo's speed. Yellow and Iris Heart fight off the fodder. And since the rest of the CPU just had a pretty hard fight against the Universe 10 members, or 12, whatever the Trio D Danger are from, I can't remember. They decided to sit back and take a break, relax, gather their breath a little bit. They just got done fighting, not to mention the Universe 6 CPU. However, Goku is quickly getting his shit rocked. Even though he's stronger than he is in canon, base to base at least, he takes note that he's never been hit this hard before and sent blind. The two fighters appeared after images. Goku would get some distance only for Jiren to immediately be in his tail, barely dodging strikes. Just the force of his blows alone made Goku shake. Goku would do a backflip to try to hit Jiren, and even though he missed, he got a little bit of distance. Although he barely had time to jump away onto some pillars as he threw some ki blast. Jiren didn't even register the attacks as he grabbed his foot and slammed him into the arena. Goku then powers up further and kicks Jiren off, but only a single second is given to him to breathe as Jiren re-engages in hand-to-hand combat. Vegeta is caught in shock by Jiren's raw power, and the fact Goku was on the back foot so easily. But Toppo makes him regret it by blasting him with an energy ball. Vegeta catches the attack and then throws it away, quickly getting into a scuffle. But it's caught by Toppo's speed despite his size. Vegeta thought he'd be a power-type fighter and was wrong. Vegeta would fire a Gallic gun to counter his Justice Beam, or whatever the attack's called. Vegeta would then give some prideful answer as Toppo asks why he's fighting in the tournament, and explain that Vegeta is the strongest in the multiverse. Toppo would then scoff and tell him that Jiren's the strongest mortal in all 12 universes. And since the yellow one is stronger than Vegeta, that would make him the third wheel. This would piss Vegeta off, and they would continue to fight. Yellowheart sees her dad getting her ass kicked, and she tries to go help him, but is cut off by the other Pride Troopers. She powers up into STD, her Saiyan Drive Divinity form, catching Jiren's attention momentarily, before she quickly knocks away all the other Pride Troopers in her way, and charges at Jiren, leaving Iris Heart alone to fight the majority of Universe 11. But the resting CPU would quickly activate their own HDD and quickly help their friend. Pishi clashes with Jiren. Everyone nearby pauses as the strongest of the two universes go head-to-head. But although Jiren respects her strength and resolve to help her father, even her power isn't enough. Pishi does barely anything better than Goku, and while Goku recovers from his ass-kicking, though her ability to fly gives her the advantage in the air, it isn't enough. Pishi would power up and fire a full-force Kamehameha, but Jiren would take the attack with a guard. Pishi huffs and puffs as the dust clears, but before the god-cladded CPU could celebrate, she felt a strong and painful punch to her gut. Jiren had moved at an unseeable speed, and no one saw him move until his fist connected. And then, the gut punch was so hard, she reverted back to her base form. He compliment Pish on the force of her attack, before picking her up by the hair and putting his hand in her stomach, and blasting her at point-blank range. Pishi yells in pain as she's sent flying through the arena, clothes being torn and skin cut, bruised, bloodied, going through various debris and whatnot as she tries to reflect the blast, but she simply just doesn't have the power, especially in her base form. As Pishi is sent towards the edge, Irisheart flies in and tackles Pishi out of the way of the attack, just to knock Pishi out of said attack. But unfortunately, the position she was in, she wasn't able to block the attack properly herself, and is set off the edge with a massive explosion. Irisheart can't fly up in time before she's rung out officially, and is sent into the stands, where she reverts back to Plutia and passes out in pain and tiredness. But let's be honest, it's surprising Plutia didn't fall asleep already. Gohan watches in horror. He feels his rage building up, but the dispo tells him he should pay attention to himself. Gohan's energy spikes. He powers up and lands a nasty combo, ending with Dispo flying into the air, and then fires a ×10 Kamehameha, and knocking him out of the arena. As Gohan calms down, Gohan and Trunks decide to split. Trunks would help his dad, while Gohan would help his own. And thus, the two split up to help said parents. Vegeta is matched by Toppo. Neither are gaining ground against one another. Out of nowhere, a Buster Cannon comes out and hits Toppo, blindsiding him. Vegeta takes this opportunity to land a strong uppercut, knocking him away with a kick. Trunks tells his dad he's here to help, but Vegeta tells him to stay out of it. Trunks would then tell Vegeta that they need to finish this guy off and help with Jiren, and, well, Trunks is right. Even Vegeta had to admit, Jiren was a strong son of a bitch. Vegeta gives in, and the father-son duo team up to fight. In the manga, Toppo can't use the God of Destruction form, and thus the father-son duo would win with the father-son Gallic Gun quite handedly, as the power gap would now be much larger. While all of that was going on, the CPU beat the rest of Universe 11, and was now in their next forms, jumping Jiren. Next White hit Jiren as hard as she could, but Jiren would hit harder. Next Green would use her amazing speed to get the surprise on Jiren, but Jiren was faster and hit her hard. Next Purple would try her critical edge combo attack, but Jiren blocked the first strike and grabbed her by the leg, spinning her like a Beyblade before slamming her into an incoming Gohan. The group would all power up, Vert firing a Goddess Destructive Wave, a modification of Piccolo's Demon version, Blanc shooting Vegeta's Big Bang attack, an attack she picked up from him, and Neptune shooting a Kamehameha, while Gohan shoots a red ×10 Kamehameha. Although it was the weakest of the attacks due to the power difference between him and the CPU. Jiren tenses and powers up himself, blocking all of the Kia Blast at the same time. 3.5 CPU then charge at him again. Gohan gets backhanded hard enough to knock him unconscious. Green and White get their weapons blocked before Jiren does that one eye attack thing. You know, when he like blinks at people and they just gets like flying. Yeah, he does that to next Purple, sending her flying. Jiren would then knee White in the gut, grab her by the face, and slam her head into Green Hearts so hard that they cause a crater in the catching arena. Poor Vert, her skull must be hurting a lot. Vegeta charges in, telling him to fight. Vegeta would smirk as he manages to dodge a few of the punches that he saw from examining Jiren's attacks, and then land a punch to his abs. Trunks would jump over Vegeta and drop kick Jiren in the chin, before the two of them send him flying back. Jiren would launch a flurry of punches so fast that Trunks couldn't even see them, and Vegeta had to block. Jiren did a double lariat, sending the two flying back. Vegeta bounces off some debris, while Trunks bounces off the ground until he's left barely hanging off the side of the arena. Trunks would crawl his way back up, but then immediately blasted off as Jiren called him trash. Vegeta's astonished, but then enraged. Meanwhile, Goku checks on Pishi and Gohan. Pishi's pretty beat up, but relatively okay. She's able to fight. Gohan is barely fluttering awake, but he manages to drag himself to his feet. Goku tells Gohan to take it easy. He's under a lot of stress. Gohan would try to object, but then Goku reaffirms, telling him to stand down. He's gotten a lot stronger in these last few years, but he's out of his league. This hurts Gohan to his core, but with 10 minutes left, maybe he could just outlast the timer. And yeah, to recap, in the span of the last 5 minutes, all but Jiren of Universe 11 have been knocked out of the arena, including Pluty and Trunks. Purple, White, and Green tried to attack Jiren again. He's actually caught off guard as they three perform perfect synergy. They trained together for a couple hundred, if not 1,000 years plus, after all. Free CPU eventually get beaten away again as they slip up for just a split second. Jiren took that opportunity to beat them. White especially was getting on his nerves, so he hit her with a flurry of strong and fast blows. And although she's the most durable of the CPU, she's sent flying away with an uppercut so hard she goes unconscious and back to block. Goku jumps up and Super Saiyan Blue catches her before placing her down with Gohan. Once again, now in her normal form. Jiren's going to be out for the rest of the tournament. However, their concern is cut when Vegeta powers up.
Impossible to defeat you! Don't make me laugh! You claim I'm no threat to you. I assume that means you won't act like a coward and try to avoid this blast! Bring it. Final blast!
Vegeta's final flash was impressive. Everyone was shocked. It was the most powerful attack seen in the tournament so far. However, it wasn't enough, and Jiren manages to defeat her. Well, he's not knocked out of the ring, simply knocked out of blue for a bit. As everyone fights the OP bald alien, Shin comes to a realization. And as the CPU and half Saiyans are prepared to get knocked out, there was a bright surprise. A very bright surprise.
Kakarot! How do you know this fusion will be enough to stop him?
I don't know for sure, but I know it's the best chance we have of saving the Earth!
Here, give it to me! What are you waiting for? Give it now!
You bet!
Come on! You said right here, right?
That's right, Vegeta!
Alright! It's on!
Great! Thanks, Vegeta.
That's right, we have the introduction of Vegeta. Universe 6 could do it, why couldn't 7? And to say that Jiren is cooked is an understatement. This is manga Vegeta. In the manga, base Vegeta blasted Zamasu in half, who was beating Blue Goku and Vegeta nearly effortlessly. So, yeah, Jiren's fucked. No matter how much he powers up, he can't beat Super Vegeta. And if he can beat Super Vegeta, I really doubt he could beat Super Saiyan 2. But if by some miracle he could keep up with Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, Vegeta could just turn Super Saiyan 3. Speaking of which, when they fuse together, there's only a minute left in the tournament. So, after a very brief struggle, Vegeta turns into Super Saiyan 3 and uses a final Kamehameha to knock the warrior out of the arena. And with that, he would also brag and be like, by the way, I was holding back, and piss Jiren off. But after the very humble bragging, everyone would be wished back to existence, and the tournament would come to an end. Although Vegeta would have to wait to unfuse, They could, you know, I guess they could spar with Pishi and Gohan. Until then, I don't know. They'd figure something out. So that's it. To be honest, I originally planned a whole nother section, which was about 2 more pages, but this script was long enough as it was. Oh well. Until then, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.